Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In contrast to the previous panel, would like to grab some questions from the audience after we finish. So we have a quite important topic today, digital government and all the aspects around that. And I would like to say that digitalization changes the government, it changes the society. And from that perspective, many people think that digitalization starts from some simple payment method. I'd like to ask this question to Mr. Ibrahim Sarhan, who is the chairman and managing director of eFinance. And he enjoys about 30 years of experience being at ICL, Triangle and Ryle integrated before he actually founded eFinance. So Ibrahim, we all know contactless is here. What do you think from your perspective and from your experience, how the government's navigating in this direction?
Thank you for inviting me to this panel, but if you allow me to speak in Arabic, please, because all of them is Arabic and easy for me. Definitely الحكومة المصرية لما بدأنا معاها من واقع خبرتنا في مشروعات قومية للدفع والتحصيل كانت مختلفة جدا عن ما البنية التحتية دلوقتي بقت أسهل وأيسر. اللي كان موجود من زمان كانت عبارة عن محاولات من 10 سنين إن احنا إزاي يبقى في إلكترونيك بيمنت في مصر. كانت المحاولات دي بتقوم بيها الحكومة المصرية بالتعاون مع البنك المركزي، إنما definitely لما بدأت الدنيا تتطور في ال3 سنين اللي فاتوا في وجود مجلس المدفوعات بقت الدنيا أيسر في حاجتين، أسهر في سرعة الامبلمنتيشن، أسرع إن بقى فيه دعاية وترويج للخدمات المصرفية أكتر، بقى فيه أمان أكتر عند المتعاملين في التعامل مع الحكومة ومع البنوك. يمكن كان عندنا شقين مهمين بنتكلم فيهم. الشق الأولاني إزاي إن الكونسيومر بيهيفير بتاع المستخدم للخدمات الإلكترونية، والشق الثاني الأصعب اللي هو الحكومة نفسها والموظف اللي بيؤدي الخدمة دي. الشقين دول أخذوا وقت من الحكومة، ومن الحكومة لما بتكلم على الحكومة بتكلم على وزارة المالية، وزارة التخطيط، وزارة الاتصالات، بتكلم كمان على البنك المركزي المصري والبنوك اللي شغالة معاه. الحكومة في الوقت ده ما كانتش منصبة قوي بطريقة فيها تنسيق كبير، لأن كانت كل دي قرارات وزارية، ما كانتش وراها قوانين، ما كانتش وراها تشريعات. أهم من كل الكلام ده ما كانش فيه حوافز. إيه هي الحوافز؟ العميل اللي مستخدم للحافز ده، الحافز إن كان فيه نيدز وبنغطي النيدز دي. لما كان صاحب المعاش بيجي ياخد حاجته ببطاقة كان بياخدها بيزد على حاجتين. ايه الحاجتين اللي هو كان بياخدهم؟ ان هو كان بيقف طابور، والطابور ده كبير وبيجي يقف في نفس المكان اللي هو بياخد فيه. دلوقتي لما البطاقة كانت موجودة والبطاقة بقت بتصرف من ATM، لقينا ان 37% من اصحاب المعاشات بياخدوا. معناها ايه؟ ان الحاجة وطريقة الدفع يسرت على 37% من 8 مليون واحد. انما دلوقتي لما يبقى فيه كارت، والكارت ده كمان ما ياخدش الكاش كله ويجي ياخد من عند الميرشنت او يؤدي خدمة حكومية، طبعا هيبقى ايسر ويبقى احسن ليه؟ احسن لسببين: ان الحكومة ادت حوافز والبنوك ادت حوافز. الحوافز بتاعت الحكومة انها رفعت التكلفة بتاعت الكارت في استخدامها، وده حاجة مهمة جدا. انا بدفع 100 جنيه هدفعهم 100 جنيه للحكومة، مش هاخد انترتشينج عليهم البنك. ده حافز ما كانش موجود، وكان بارير موجود ما بين ازاي ان انا استخدم الكارت بتاعي عند الحكومة ولا لا. النقطة الثانية تكلفة الكارت. تكلفة الكارت بقت أيسر وبقت أسهل وبقت أرخص. نمرة 3 استخدامات الكارت، أستخدمه عند الميرشنت وإن أنا أدفع بيه فلوس سواء في الحكومة أو عند الميرشنت، وبقى فيه لويالتي بروجرامز وحاجات من دي. فاللي أنا عايز أقوله إيه؟ إن البيهيفير بتاع الكونسيومر والبيهيفير نفسه بتاع الموظف اللي في الحكومة اللي كان شغال على الإلكترونيك بيمنت اتغير. التغير ده ساعده كمان إن بقى فيه حوافز سواء له أو في الجهة الحكومية، لأن الجهة الحكومية بتدي حافز للموظف اللي بدأ يستخدم البوينت اوف سيل، إنه بيستخدم الأدوات الإلكترونية أكتر ما إنه بيجري للكاش. الحوافز دي في حد ذاتها مهمة. نمرة 2 بقى في إلزام، القوانين خلت إلزام، لو ما فيش إلزام وما فيش حوافز دفنتلي الدنيا ما بتبقاش كبيرة. أختم السؤال بتاع حضرتك الإجابة بتاعته في حاجتين. الحاجة الأولانية إن البنية التحتية موجودة دلوقتي، البنية البشرية موجودة، البنية التكنولوجيا موجودة باللي احنا شفناه النهاردة واللي متطبق بالأعداد الكروت اللي موجودة. لما بنتكلم إن 37 مليون كارت بيضاف لهم 5.5 مليون كارت في سنة، ده رقم كبير. استخدامات الكروت نفسها، عدد الحركات نفسها، الأرقام اللي بنتكلم فيها، احنا بنتكلم كبيمنت هاب للحكومة، بنتكلم على مدفوعات أكتر من 120 مليار بس في سنة واحدة، فده رقم بيدل إن نمبر اوف ترانزاكشن كبير. نفس حكاية التحصيلات، لما الحكومة والبنك المركزي في 4 شهور يقدروا يوزعوا 20,000 بوينت اوف سيل في أماكن حكومية كتيرة على مستوى الجمهورية، ويدربوا حوالي 12,000 موظف، ويوفروا كروت ل5 مليون كارت بميزة يبقوا موجودين في البنوك، I think إن ده حاجة كويسة. اللي أنا بس عايز أقوله إن الإلزام كان امبارح. الإلزام امبارح لو إحنا كنا شغالين تجريبي من 1/5 لغاية يوم 16/6 اللي هو امبارح، عايزين نقول امبارح بس أول ما الإلزام نزل عملنا 80% اللي عملناه في الشهر اللي قبل كده. فهنا في حافز وفي إلزام وفي سكسس، وأتمنى إن أنتوا السنة الجاية تيجوا هنا تشوفوا أكتر بالنسبة للموبايل وبالنسبة للQR كود. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you, sir. And you touched very important subject when going to digitalizing payments and all the interaction between the citizen and the government. And I'd like to ask Mr. Sapnendo Mahanti, you represent Monetary Authority of Singapore, and I bet you know that probably the right infrastructure is the right way to go, and this is probably the cornerstone, and we need to start from something. And as long as our company enjoys being in 80 countries all over the world, we always face this issue. So we can talk about digitalization, but if there is no infrastructure, there is no digitalization. So could you please share your view on that?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. So I think given the topic is Digital Government 4.0, let's talk about what 4.0 means in a practical public policymaker's point of view. If you think about the digital e-government, there's a fundamental design where the system operates. It is presence-less, it is paperless, and it has to run on trust without looking at each other. So the first 4 infrastructure you must have in a digital e-government structure we call as trust infrastructure. The first piece of trust infrastructure will be the national digital identity, because the future of the economy will run on presence-less interaction, and you must have a trusted identity, be it corporate or individual, as they interact with the system. The second piece of trust will be the whole notion of trusted data. An identity can be completely meaningless if the data associated with that is not trusted. So you must have a public infrastructure which allows you to trust the data associated with that ID. The third piece of trust infrastructure will be the consent architecture. Very critical infrastructure. If you don't have a clear electronic consent architecture, very hard to construct the future economy on a digital world. And the fourth piece is the public infrastructure, which supports this 1, 2, 3. Now, there's an example. Let's take my own country in Singapore. Today in Singapore, if you have to open a bank account, you can use your national identity. You can consent your electronic data stored in the government infrastructure called MyInfo. There are 40 trusted data in that system. And then once you authorize the data, it goes through a KYC process and you open the account with the bank. And the whole traceability, the accountability, and the third-party interaction, liability is all captured in that whole process. Similar example, there's a public infrastructure in Singapore called PayNow. It runs on one trust infrastructure. I can send money between A account and B account using a national identity in 3 steps, 0 cost, and the money is instantly credited to your account. They all operate on this 4 trust infrastructure. The next 4 piece in the whole infrastructure is called the technology stack. And given it is 4.0, there are 4 technologies which will drive the whole policies shaping the future e-government. One is the open architecture, the APIs. I think government has to work very hard with multi-sector to start thinking about how to open the infrastructure by making the systems in an open architected way. B, the whole distributed ledger, the blockchain piece. It's a bit of future, but we strongly believe that's how the future architecture will be, more distributed processing, less of central processing. C, the whole cloud infrastructure. Government must put together a national infrastructure on cloud, at least put a policy out there to support cloud development, because most of the application which the infrastructure is going to run will be cloud-driven, cloud-native. And the last piece is the D and the data piece, which associates with the whole AI piece along with data. How to ensure there are certain ethical choices we make as a public policy maker, how to use AI and the big data along with this 4 infrastructure. So these are the 4 trust and technology piece, total 8 infrastructure. The last 2 piece is the talent piece. There are 2 kind of talent focus we got to have in the, as a government policy. One is establish a national policy around reskilling the citizens who are going to consume these electronic services, rebuild the sectoral skill set which is going to support the development of the ecosystem. And there's also a talent development within the policymaker. And what we call as policymakers are going to deal with this new technology, they must have the ability to experiment, to test and learn as they're trying to shape and fine-tune the existing physical policy in the digital world. So to me, this 10 big policy thinking will drive the future architecture of 4.0 e-government, and that's how we see in Singapore the world is shaping to.
Thank you. I would also contribute to this because as a company, we implement solutions and we typically connect to these digital identity systems. And these are normally belong to the government or to the government entities and operated by the government. And according to the latest advances in biometrics, the latest thing that everybody talks about right now is behavior of biometrics. That is very hard to compromise. Nobody talks about fingerprints because they can be compromised. Iris scan also can be compromised, but behavioral biometrics still not. When we try to protect our infrastructure for the digital government, we need to start from trust, and trust the starting point. So if we establish the right infrastructure for keeping the digital identities of the citizens, then we can proceed with all that, starting from payments and going to other digital services that typically comprise the digital government as a whole. I have a question for Jeroen. Jeroen enjoys several years' experience with Ernst & Young, but he is quite knowledgeable also with Internet of Things and blockchain. And the question is a little bit in the other direction. So we talked about the digital government going to the citizens, but sometimes we face the situation when the citizens push their governments to go digital. So could you please share your experiences from that perspective?
Okay, Oleg, thank you very much. Happy to be actually on this panel. Let me not break down your question. I think nowadays for governments, the world is just changing incredibly fast. It's not a situation anymore where as a government you can actually think for your citizens. Yeah, citizens are very vocal, they use social media, they use all kind of other outlets to express their opinion, they express what they want to have, what kind of quality of service. Yeah, so what we see changing mainly is more initiatives from the citizens itself, yeah, and what kind of service and what kind of level they want to have.
Right.
Yeah, so let us not talk here about the blockchains or the IoTs or the cloud solutions. Yeah, I think many of those technology trends will simply happen at a certain point in time. And if you don't believe that, just look at your children. Yeah, they are not using computers anymore. They use tablets, they use mobiles, they want to pay contactless, they are doing all kinds of different things. I think if you talk about designing those services, yeah, we see successful governments more and more just thinking out of, asking for the support of the citizens, yeah, to shape the services they need. Yeah, just very simple examples we have seen in the past. Yeah, of course you need to have a digital identity for those kind of things. Yeah, but there are countries actually around the world who just promise their citizens, yeah, if you want to establish a new business, you can establish a new business in just 24 hours. Yeah, that means it's digital, it's online, it means that the Chamber of Commerce is connected, it means that the Ministry of Finance is connected, it even means that the police might be connected for certain certificates, yeah, it means that the bank might be connected. Yeah, but you can get a business up and running in 24 hours. That would not be possible without digital.
Okay. And what will be just your best selection for the technologies or the approaches that the government should take just to win the hearts and minds of probably younger audiences and our children?
Now, I think the first prerequisite is actually that as a government you have a very clear vision. Yeah, and that vision is not per se about technology. Yeah, so let me mention an example close by, Dubai. Yeah, Dubai, the ruler announced 2 years back, I think, yeah, that he wants the government to be paperless by 2020. Yeah, and just by having that vision, and he's not doing anything else, there's a whole ecosystem now, yeah, of companies popping up, startup companies starting, you know, students, foreign investors actually coming into the country to try to contribute, yeah, to that vision. So that means a couple of things for a country. It means, you know, more jobs locally, which is very important for some of the governments, of course, your job creation. Yeah, it has an impact actually on your education system. Yeah, but the government is very actively seeking, let's say, the commercial companies' support to make things happen.
Right, thank you. Okay, as long as we already talked about very simple things like payments, touch and go, but digital government is not only that. There are other services that should be covered. Of course, any kind of applications, any kind of changing the information in the citizen's record and all that. There is a little bit more complicated area, so it's not only payment side. And probably I have a question to Ibrahim once again. When we advance into this area, there is an issue, and this issue is lack of literacy. We typically face it in underdeveloped countries that people get familiar with payments very quickly. But to proceed and advance into the real digital government services, it requires a certain level of literacy. So, Ibrahim, what will be your perspective on how to fight this issue or how to overcome this in a short perspective?
احنا عندنا تجارب زي ما قلت في مشروعات قومية. المشروعات القومية دي بنبتدي نشتغل فيها من أول ما بنبني البنية التحتية. البنية التحتية عشان تتبنى لازم نشوف زي ما قلنا قبل كده البيهيفير بتاع الكاستمر اللي قدامنا ايه هو. يمكن احنا بدأنا اشتغلنا في حاجة اسمها كارت الفلاح، اشتغلنا قبل كده في كارت بتاع تكافل وكرامة. تكافل وكرامة قد ايه الناس دي كلهم سيدات يمكن دخلهم بسيط وبيعتمدوا جامد على الدخل ده، انما زي ما اتفقنا ان هو بنشوف اقرب مكان نقدر نيسر البنية التحتية ليها. البنية التحتية هي في الاخر بنية تكنولوجية، لانها في الاول وفي الاخر بتستخدم الالكترونيك بيمنت. فاحنا يسرنا كارت وسمارت. كارت السمارت ده لازم يستخدم تابلت. التابلت ده عشان يجيب البيانات من اقاصي الصعيد. فاللي انا عايز اقوله في النهاية هنا، على قد ما بتبقى البنية التحتية جاهزة وعلى قد ما انت بتبقى عارف الكالتشر اللي قدامك، على قد ما انت تنزل على ارض الواقع وتقدر توفق الاوضاع دي. توفيق الاوضاع ده بيجي من ناحيتين. اول حاجة ان الناس دي متقبلة انها تستقبل اي تكنولوجي تيسر لها حالها في الشغل. فازاي هي بتروح منفذ بريد وتاخد السمارت كارد ده وتحافظ عليه، وبتحافظ ازاي على البن اللي هي بتضربه على البوينت اوف سيل عشان تاخد المبلغ بتاعها ده. ازاي انها بتجهز بياناتها عشان تروح المكان اللي هو فيه البورتال اللي بيخش فيه البيانات. اللي انا عايز اقوله المشروعات دي كلها زي تكافل وكرامة وزي كارت الفلاح ادى قواعد بيانات مهمة للدولة، انما في الاهم والاهم هو دخل ناس ما كانوش في الفاينانشال سيكتور خالص، بدأوا يخشوا عن طريق الكارت، يخشوا عن طريق استخدام منافذ بريد او ATMs او فروع بنوك. ودلوقتي الاكتر واللي اعتقد ان هو هيستمر ويبقى اكتر الموبايل، لان الموبايل في مصر نجاح رهيب. وانا بعد الجزئيه بتاع الكيو ار كود واستخدام الموبايل، انا اتوقع ان الجزء ده هيتطور الى ابعد حد. في جزء مهم كمان، جزء الشباب اللي في المجتمع المصري. الجزء بتاع الشباب اللي في المجتمع المصري احنا لينا تجارب مع البنوك، في اكتر من 13 جامعه دلوقتي البنوك بتديهم الكروت بتاعتهم. لما بتطلع لهم الكروت عشان مصروفاتهم، اتضح ان هم مش بيستخدموها بس في دفع المصروفات، انما من البنوك الكبيره اللي شغاله معانا فيها البنك الاهلي وبنك مصر، لقينا ان الناس دي بتستخدمها على الاي كوميرس. معناها ان في 250 الف عميل جديد في خلال سنتين دول بداوا يخشوا على الاي كوميرس. معناها ان الاي كوميرس استفاد من الجزئيه بتاعه نشر الوعي ونشر الكروت للجزء ده. اللي انا عايز اقوله في النهايه ان المجتمع قابل للتكنولوجي وقابل للتشينج في حاجتين، ان انت بتيسر له وبتقلل له الوقت وبتدي له الخدمه في مكان ما هو موجود. وهي نجحت في مصر بدليل ان في مشروعات كبيره قوي بتخدم، من ضمنها مشروعات الدعم كلها بتستخدم التكنولوجي بتاعه البيمنت. شكرا.
Thank you. That's an interesting perspective because you also mentioned the cashless network and cashless points that could be used as an engagement network to get the starting information about the citizens and the customers and potential users of digital government services. And again, Sapriendo, I have a question. That's probably could be a mixture of what we already discussed, but you mentioned blockchain and distributed ledger. What do you think from the digital government point of view, combined payments and other digital government services? What's your perspective on the future of distributed ledger? Because people typically confuse blockchain with cryptocurrencies, and it's not what we are going to talk about. So Distributed ledger is a very successful concept that does the silent revolution right now. And I think it's worth mentioning that distributed ledger as a concept could be also the foundation for the digital government.
I think before we go to the distributed ledger piece, I think there are certain policy evolution happening as we speak. What I call as a data nationalism. Countries are going to start getting worried about their own digital data.
That's right.
And they're going to start ring-fencing this data within their jurisdiction. Some of the policy thinking as it stands today will restrict a lot of data being cross-bordered across multiple jurisdictions. In a way, in a strange way, distributed ledger can answer that question in a way that you can process the data at the point of origin, get the insights, and run the outcome out of a third jurisdiction. So there is a bit of a thinking around the whole data governance, which is evolving very fast. And can distributed ledger be an answer to that way to manage data more efficiently? We did our own experiment, the largest public-private experiment called Project Ubin in Singapore. It has been running for 2 years, 5 phases. We experimented the whole distributed ledger applied to the whole payment ecosystem and in a domestic payment system, cross-border with Central Bank of Canada. And we are also looking at a policy stance on how it looks if I'm going to move my payment infrastructure to distributed ledger. We can spend whole day talking about it. There's 3-4 reports which came out of it. But for the audience, 2 big insights we learned from that whole distributed ledger experiment. We strongly believe we can decentralize the operations. Absolutely, I'm clear in my mind, a proper use of distributed technology can allow us to efficiently distribute the operational efficiency by moving it at the point of origin. No doubt about it. What we must retain as against the philosophy of distributed ledger is the governance piece, because the governance must be staying somewhere in event of an unintended consequence of the network. So we strongly believe there's a distributed operations, there's a distributed computing which runs these operations, but there's a central superpower governance which allows policymaker or the state to intervene in the process as against, if you look at the Lehman Brothers crisis, and evening all the Fed transfers are sitting in one side, there's no counterparty to trust. So you need some circuit breaker to come in and push these transactions. So you need to have a central mode on this whole distributed ledger concept. Just to end the last phase, we also looked at applying DLT across non-payment sector. One of the largest public connectivity is happening as we speak between 2 jurisdictions, between Hong Kong and Singapore, the whole trade finance. We are building a super ledger which allows different trade finance different receivables being financed to be connected to this centralized ledger so you can prevent fraud. A lot of multiple people borrow on the same invoices using by going to 2 different banks, that can be protected. Also, there's a good example in Asia. Recently, Thailand went into a public infrastructure where they put all the letter of guarantee between all the banks through a public ledger system. What you're going to see in Asia, in particular Asia, in China, a rise of public and private infrastructure in the distributed ledger space. And if history is the one way to understand why other governments should not sit idle, look at what China did to AI. When everybody was sleeping, China quietly built an AI capacity, and today everybody is complaining how China has gone ahead in AI. It's not their problem because they actually invested in, experimented, and they went and deployed AI when everybody is questioning AI. Same thing is going to happen to DLT. We'll be sitting here and debating about DLT. Some governments, some regions is going to move very fast, and others will be watching, and one fine day they'll wake up, oh, it is gone. So my strong message here is that do a lot of experiment, move a lot of infrastructure to DLT. There are real value, but keep the governance central to yourself.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. And Jeroen has something to say as well, because it's a just hot topic.
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting subject, isn't it? So when you talk about technology and talk about data and talk about governments, you know, I think that the government, like your government, who's getting ahead of the rest of the troops, Yeah, it's very important as a government that you don't focus on what you don't want to happen, yeah, but you need to focus on what you want to happen. Yeah, in other words, you can say a lot of things about data, but it's about data governance. Yeah, you can say a lot about cloud solutions. I don't want to have cloud, but it's a fact. Yeah, I'm old enough actually to understand, yeah, that cloud was not an option 20 years back, but now many of us are actually on the cloud, and it's just a fact. Technology will continue, and as a government, you need to determine, you know, where the frameworks are, where the regulations is that you want to put in place, but you cannot stop technology. Yeah, that's a very important thing to understand. It's just a fact, and in 5 years' time, you probably will pay without a card. Yeah, that's simple.
Thank you. That was very, very interesting discussion, and we still have some time for the questions from the audience, please. Yes. No questions? Okay. I feel that that was a very, very interesting session, and I'd like to request you to give a round of applause to our wonderful speakers this time. So thank you very much.